If you've ever frozen up trying to talk to a woman you're attracted to, or watched a conversation die before it even started, you're about to learn exactly what to say to instantly spark genuine connection. These aren't pickup lines or manipulation tactics. These are psychology-backed conversation starters that create real attraction through authentic communication. By the end of this video, you'll never run out of things to say again. Let's unlock the conversation code. Welcome back to Behind the Mind, where we explore psychology, communication, and human connection. Today, we're revealing the exact words and approaches that spark instant conversation with women, not through tricks or scripts, but through understanding the psychology of attraction and genuine communication. Here's the truth most men miss. It's not what you say that matters most. It's the energy, intention, and framework behind your words. The best conversation starters create curiosity, show genuine interest, and invite her into an engaging exchange. These strategies are backed by communication psychology, attraction research, and real-world social dynamics. Whether you're approaching someone new or trying to create deeper connection with someone you already know, these conversation frameworks will transform how you communicate. Let's dive in. Strategy 1. Make an observation about her, the situation, or the environment, not a generic compliment, but something specific and genuine. The psychology. Observational openers show you're actually paying attention. They demonstrate presence, awareness, and genuine interest rather than using a rehearsed line on every woman you meet. What this looks like: I noticed you're reading book title. I've heard great things about that. What made you pick it up? That's a really unique perspective you just shared. Where does that come from? I couldn't help but notice your reaction to something that just happened. Did you find that as ridiculous as I did? You seem like you actually want to be here, which is rare at these things. What brought you? Why this works. You're creating common ground based on something real happening right now. It's impossible to prepare for, which makes it authentic. The research. Studies show that situational openers have significantly higher success rates than generic compliments or pickup lines because they feel natural and specific to her. What to avoid. Generic observations everyone makes, like you have beautiful eyes. Creepy observations about her body. Observations that sound like you've been watching her. Compliments with no conversational hook. The key: observation plus question. Don't just state something, invite her to respond. The question creates the opening for dialogue. Examples that work. At a coffee shop. I've been trying to decide between the cold brew and the cortado for 5 minutes. You seem decisive. What's your go-to here? At a social event. You're the only person here who actually looks like they're enjoying themselves. What's your secret? At a bookstore. I saw you smile at that book title. Is it actually good or just funny? The energy. Deliver this casually, like you're genuinely curious, not in interviewing her. Friendly observation, not intense scrutiny. Bottom line, specific observations show you're present and paying attention, which immediately sets you apart from every guy using generic lines. Strategy 2. Ask a question that makes her think, sparks curiosity, or reveals something interesting about her personality, not boring small talk. The psychology. Women, and people generally, are starved for interesting questions. Most conversations are predictable. What do you do? Where are you from? Asking something unexpected creates immediate engagement. What this looks like: if you could have dinner with any 3 people, alive or dead, who would you choose and why? What's something you believed for way too long before realizing it wasn't true? What's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done? If you could master any skill instantly, what would it be? What's a controversial opinion you have that most people would disagree with? Why this works. These questions bypass surface-level conversation and go straight to revealing personality, values, and how someone thinks. They're fun to answer and create instant depth. The research. Psychologist Arthur Aaron's study on creating intimacy showed that asking progressively deeper questions creates connection faster than small talk ever could. What to avoid. Questions that feel like job interviews, overly personal questions too early, questions with one-word answers that kill momentum, questions that make her uncomfortable or defensive. The follow-up. This only works if you actually listen to her answer and build on it. Ask follow-up questions, share your own answer, create dialogue, not interrogation. Examples that work. What's something you're passionate about that most people don't know? If you could live anywhere in the world for a year, where would you go and what would you do? What's the best advice you've ever received? What's something you've changed your mind about recently? The energy. Share from a place of strength, not neediness. You're being real, not seeking validation or sympathy. When to use it. After some initial connection, don't lead with deep vulnerability, build comfort first, then go deeper. The reciprocity. If she shares something vulnerable back, honor it. Listen, empathize, don't minimize or fix, just be present. Bottom line, genuine vulnerability creates real connection and shows emotional intelligence. You're being human. Strategy 3. Lightly tease, challenge her opinion, or create playful disagreement. This builds tension and shows confidence. The psychology. Playful challenge creates spark. When you respectfully disagree or tease, you're demonstrating confidence and creating dynamic conversation instead of agreeable niceness. What this looks like. Wait, you actually think pineapple belongs on pizza? We might have to fight about this. That's a bold choice. I respect it, even though it's completely wrong. I'm getting the vibe you're the type of person who always has to be right. Am I close? Why this works. It breaks the pattern of men agreeing with everything she says to gain approval. Playful disagreement shows you have your own opinions and aren't trying too hard. The research. Studies on attraction show that playful teasing creates positive tension and demonstrates confidence, two key factors in romantic interest. The critical balance. This is playful, not mean. You're teasing with a smile, not criticizing. The tone is friendly challenge, not actual conflict. The framework. Challenge plus smile. Your words might be disagreeing, but your energy says, I'm having fun with you. Examples that work. You're telling me you've never seen classic movie? I don't know if we can be friends now. What's your excuse? That's the most city she's from answer I've ever heard. Very on brand. I'm feeling like you're the kind of person who secretly loves reality TV but pretends you don't. Am I right? When to use it. After some initial rapport, don't lead with a challenge. Build a bit of comfort first, then go deeper. The recovery. If she doesn't respond well, dial it back immediately. Not every woman responds to teasing, and that's fine. Bottom line, playful challenge creates spark and shows confidence. You're not trying to impress her, you're being genuinely yourself. Strategy 4. Share something genuine and slightly vulnerable about yourself. This creates trust and invites her to open up. The psychology. Vulnerability creates connection. When you share something real about yourself, it signals safety and invites reciprocal openness. What this looks like. Honestly, I almost didn't come tonight. I've been in my head a lot lately, but I'm glad I did. I'm terrible at small talk. I always feel like I'm in a job interview. Does that ever happen to you? I used to be really anxious about something. Getting over it has been a journey. This might sound random, but I've been thinking a lot about genuine topic. Have you ever felt like relatable feeling? Why this works. Most people hide behind social masks. When you're genuine and a little vulnerable, you stand out as authentic and create space for real conversation. The research, Brené Brown's work on vulnerability shows that genuine connection requires the courage to be seen. Vulnerability is strength, not weakness. The critical balance. Slightly vulnerable, not trauma dumping. You're sharing something real, not unloading your deepest wounds on a stranger. What to avoid. Oversharing traumatic or heavy topics too early. Using vulnerability as a manipulation, like, I'm sharing so you'll like me. Making it all about you and your problems. Being vulnerable about things that make her uncomfortable. The framework. Brief personal share plus relatable question. You're not just dumping your feelings, you're creating a two-way exchange. Examples that work. I just quit my job to pursue deep dream. It's scary but exciting. Have you ever taken a big risk like that? I'm realizing I've been living life on autopilot lately, trying to be more present. Do you ever feel that way? I moved here a year ago and still feel like I'm figuring it out. What helped you when you first got here? The energy. Share from a place of strength, not neediness. You're being real, not seeking validation or sympathy. When to use it. After some initial connection, don't lead with deep vulnerability. Build comfort first, then go deeper. The reciprocity. If she shares something vulnerable back, honor it. Listen, empathize, don't minimize or fix. Just be present. Bottom line, genuine vulnerability creates real connection and shows emotional intelligence. You're being human.
Strategy 5.
Make a playful assumption about her based on observation. This creates instant banter and shows confidence. The psychology. Assumptions create instant engagement because she either confirms or corrects you. Both lead to conversation. It's also inherently playful. What this looks like: you seem like someone who has very strong opinions about coffee. Am I right? I'm getting the vibe you're not from here originally. Where are you actually from? You look like you're the friend who always has the plan. Are you the organizer of your group? I bet you're profession. You have that energy. Why this works? It shows you're observant, confident enough to make a guess, and playful. Whether you're right or wrong, it creates dialogue. The research? Studies on first impressions show that making kind assumptions demonstrates confidence and creates immediate interaction, both attractive qualities. The delivery? Say it with a smile, like you're having fun. The assumption itself matters less than the playful energy. What to avoid? Assumptions that could be insulting or offensive. Assumptions about her body or appearance in a creepy way. Doubling down if you're wrong and she's uncomfortable. Assumptions that reveal you've been watching her. The framework? You seem like someone who, or I'm getting the vibe that you're. This frames it as an impression, not a judgment. Examples that work? You strike me as someone who's more of a morning person than a night owl. True or false? I feel like you're the type who always has a book recommendation. What should I read next? You have adventurous energy. What's the most adventurous thing you've done? The beauty of being wrong? If your assumption is wrong, it creates even more conversation. Not even close? Okay, so what are you actually like? When to use it? This works great as an opener because it immediately creates back and forth. She'll either confirm, deny, or elaborate. All lead to conversation. The tone? Light and playful, never serious or judgmental. You're making a fun guess, not profiling her. Bottom line, playful assumptions show confidence, create instant banter, and immediately engage her in the conversation. Strategy 6. Start with a compelling story or interesting statement that naturally draws her in and invites questions. The psychology? Humans are wired for stories. A good story captures attention, creates emotion, and makes you memorable. It also gives her something to ask about. What this looks like: I just had the weirdest, funniest, most interesting thing happen to me on my way here. Or, so I'm in the middle of the most random bet with my friend. Let me get your opinion on this. I just found out something that completely changed how I think about blank. Have you ever heard about this? Or, this might sound crazy, but I just decided to blank. I'm either brave or stupid. Why this works? A good hook creates intrigue, gives her easy entry points to engage, and positions you as interesting without you having to say, I'm interesting. The research? Narrative psychology shows that storytelling creates emotional connection and memory formation. People remember stories far better than facts. The structure? Hook plus tension plus invite her in. Don't just tell a story at her, create space for her to engage. What to avoid? Stories that go on too long with no point. Bragging disguised as storytelling. Stories that make you look bad in ways that aren't endearing. Inside jokes or references she can't connect with. The framework? Brief setup, interesting detail, question or pause that invites her response. Examples that work? You're not going to believe what just happened. I was walking in and this guy, brief story. Does stuff like that happen to you? Or, so I'm trying to settle a debate with my friend. Is it weird to blank? I need an outside opinion. Or, I just realized I've been pronouncing word wrong my entire life. What's something you learned embarrassingly late? The delivery? Say it like you're sharing with a friend, not performing for an audience. Natural, conversational energy. The hook? The first sentence matters most. You won't believe this, or this is so random, or I have to tell someone this. These create curiosity. The participation? The best stories naturally invite her to share a similar experience or give her opinion. Has that ever happened to you? What would you have done? Bottom line, good storytelling captures attention, creates emotional engagement, and makes you memorable in a sea of boring conversations. Strategy 7. Be direct and honest about your intention. This works when done with confidence and respect. The psychology, directness is disarming. In a world where everyone plays games, genuine honesty stands out. It shows confidence and respects your time. What this looks like: I know this is direct, but I saw you and wanted to come say hi. I'm name. I'd regret it if I didn't come talk to you. Hi, I'm name. I'm just going to be honest. I think you're attractive and I wanted to introduce myself. I'm terrible at subtle. I noticed you and thought you seemed interesting. Mind if I join you? Why this works? It's refreshing, confident, and clear. She knows your intention immediately, which creates trust. No games, no manipulation. The research? Studies on direct communication show that directness is often more effective than indirect approaches because it eliminates ambiguity and demonstrates confidence. The critical balance, direct but not aggressive. You're stating interest, not demanding attention or pressuring her. What to avoid? Being direct about sexual interest immediately. That's crude, not confident. Putting pressure on her to respond a certain way. Being direct to the point of making her uncomfortable. Confusing directness with persistence when she's not interested. The framework? Honest statement, introduction, space for her to respond. You're opening the door, not forcing her through it. Examples that work? I don't usually do this, but I saw you from across the room and had to come introduce myself. I'm name. Full transparency, my friends dared me to come talk to you, but now that I'm here, I actually want to. Hi. I'm going to be direct because I respect your time. I think you seem interesting and I'd like to get to know you. Is that okay? The energy, calm confidence, not nervous energy or bravado. You're comfortable with potential rejection. The respect? If she's not interested, accept it gracefully and immediately. Directness without respect is just aggression. When to use it? When the situation allows for direct approach, social settings, not when she's working or has headphones in or is clearly busy. The follow-up? After the direct opener, transition to normal conversation. You've stated your interest, now actually be interesting. Bottom line, direct honesty demonstrates confidence, respects your time, and cuts through the noise of indirect game playing. Strategy 8, give a genuine, specific compliment about something other than her physical appearance, then follow it with a question. The psychology? Women receive generic physical compliments constantly. Complimenting something she chose, created, or developed shows you see her, not just her appearance. What this looks like? That was a really insightful point you made about blank. Where did you learn about that? I love your style. It's a very specific adjective. Where do you get inspiration? You have a really infectious laugh. Do you laugh like that all the time, or am I just that funny? Or, the way you handle that situation was impressive. Are you always that calm under pressure? Why this works? It shows you're observant, confident enough to make a guess, and paying attention to who she is, not just what she looks like. It's memorable because most men don't do this. The research? Studies on attraction show that compliments about personality, choices, or skills are rated as more meaningful and attractive than physical compliments. The structure? Specific compliment plus related question. The compliment opens the door, the question invites conversation. What to avoid? Generic compliments she has heard 1,000 times. Backhanded compliments disguised as kindness. Complimenting only to get something in return. Compliments that sexualize or objectify. The specificity, you're beautiful, means nothing. I love how expressive your hands are when you talk. You really bring stories to life, is specific and memorable. Examples that work? I noticed you're really engaged in conversations. You actually listen instead of just waiting to talk. That's rare. Where did you learn that? Or, your energy is really positive. Is that natural or something you work on? Or, you have a really interesting perspective on blank. What made you think about it that way? The authenticity. Only compliment what you genuinely notice and appreciate. False compliments feel hollow. The delivery? Say it casually, not like you're nervously confessing something. It's an observation you're sharing, not a big declaration. The transition? After the compliment and her response, continue the conversation naturally. Don't make the compliment the entire interaction. Bottom line, genuine, specific compliments about her personality, energy, or choices are far more powerful than commenting on her appearance. Strategy 9. Make a funny observation or comment about the current situation you're both experiencing. Shared humor creates instant connection. The psychology? Laughter is one of the fastest ways to create comfort and connection. Shared humor about a mutual experience creates us versus the situation bonding. What this looks like? The longest PowerPoint presentation in human history. How are you staying awake? At a gym. I'm convinced this machine was designed by someone who hates people. Have you figured out how it works? At a party. I've been pretending to text for 5 minutes to avoid talking to people. You seem like you might be doing the same thing. Why this works? You're both experiencing the same thing, so the humor is immediately relatable. It creates an us dynamic from the start. The research? Studies show that shared laughter increases feelings of connection and similarity, key factors in attraction and relationship formation. The approach? Observational humor about the situation, not self-deprecating humor or humor at others' expense, unless it's clearly lighthearted. What to avoid? Humor that's mean or at someone else's expense. Trying too hard to be funny with rehearsed jokes. Self-deprecation that makes you seem insecure. Dark or inappropriate humor as an opener. The delivery? Casual and natural, like you're sharing an amusing thought, not performing a comedy routine. Examples that work? At a coffee shop. I just watched 3 people order the same complicated drink. Is there a secret menu I don't know about? What do you usually get? At a bookstore. I've been standing here trying to decide on a book for 20 minutes. At this point, I'm committed to making the perfect choice. Any recommendations? At a social event. I've had the same conversation about my job 4 times tonight. How many times have you explained what you do? The tone? Light and playful, inviting her to share in the observation rather than just laugh at your joke. The follow-up? After she laughs or responds, continue the conversation naturally. The humor is the opener, not the entire interaction. The authenticity? Only use humor if it's genuinely how you see the situation. Forced humor falls flat. Bottom line, situational humor creates instant rapport through shared experience and shows you don't take yourself too seriously. Strategy 10. If the initial conversation goes well, exit gracefully and return later. This creates intrigue and shows you're not desperate. The psychology? Scarcity creates value. When you exit a good conversation to do something else, then return later, you demonstrate social confidence and make her think about you in your absence. What this looks like? This has been great, but I should go say hi to my friend. I'll come find you later. Hold that thought. I need to grab a drink. Don't let me forget what we were talking about when I get back. I'm really enjoying this conversation, but I promised my friend I'd thing. Can we continue this in a bit? After a good initial chat, I should let you get back to whatever she was doing, but I'd like to continue this conversation. Are you free for specific suggestion? Why this works? You show you have other things going on, you're not desperate for her attention, and you're confident the interaction went well enough to reconnect. The research? Psychological studies on attraction show that brief absence after positive interaction increases interest and creates anticipation. The framework? Acknowledge the good interaction, plus genuine reason to leave, plus clear intention to reconnect. What to avoid? Using it as a manipulation tactic when the conversation wasn't going well. Disappearing without indicating you want to reconnect. Being gone so long she forgets about you or leaves. Using fake excuses that seem like you're avoiding her. The execution? The exit should feel natural, not abrupt. You're not running away, you're genuinely doing something else while keeping her in mind. Examples that work? I really need to check in with my friend, but I want to hear the rest of this story. Give me 5 minutes? This has been the best conversation I've had tonight. I have to go do thing, but I'm coming back to finish this. Don't go anywhere. My friend is giving me the "we need to leave soon" look. Before we go, can I get your number? I'd like to continue this conversation. The return? When you come back, reference something specific from your earlier conversation. So you were telling me about topic. I've been thinking about that. The alternative? If you can't or don't want to return, be direct about asking for her contact info. I have to go, but I really enjoyed talking to you. Can I get your number? The confidence? This only works if you're genuinely comfortable with the possibility that she might not be there when you return. It's outcome independent. Bottom line, exiting and returning, or getting her contact info before leaving, shows social confidence and creates positive anticipation. Here's what you need to understand. The exact words matter far less than the energy and intention behind them. These strategies work because they're rooted in genuine interest, confidence, and respect. The core principles across all strategies? Be genuinely curious about her as a person. Show confidence without arrogance. Create space with two-way conversation, not interrogation. Be comfortable with potential rejection. Focus on connection, not outcome. Be authentic. Don't use these as scripts. What all these have in common? They invite her into dialogue. They show you're interesting, confident, and genuinely want to know her. they create opportunities for real connection. The biggest mistake? Thinking any of these is a magic formula. They're frameworks, not scripts. Adapt them to your personality, the situation, and what feels genuine to you. The real skill? Learning to be present, read social cues, and adjust based on her responses. If something isn't working, pivot. If she's engaged, go deeper. What makes you attractive? Not the perfect words, but the confidence to approach, the emotional intelligence to read the situation, and the authenticity to be yourself. The truth? Women can tell when you're running a script versus actually being present with them. These strategies work when they're extensions of genuine interest, not replacements for it. So there you have it. 10 powerful strategies for what to say to women that instantly sparks conversation. From observational openers to genuine vulnerability to direct honesty, these frameworks create real connection through authentic communication. Which strategy resonates most with you? Drop it in the comments. And if this helped you understand communication and attraction better, hit that like button and subscribe to Behind the Mind for more psychology, confidence, and social dynamics. Remember, the goal isn't to manipulate or trick, it's to communicate authentically and create genuine connection. The right woman will respond to the real you. Start showing up as that person. You've got this.